So, as I was saying, we are going to talk about pivot tables, and then the topics will be what is a pivot table in Excel, importance of using a pivot table, and then we are going to go through a step-by-step tutorials on how to insert a pivot table. And then when time permits us, we'll talk about pivot charts, and then we'll talk about slices. So all this are going to be illustrated on a step-by-step basis so that in case you fall on the recorded video, you can follow up and then get the work done. So without wasting my time, let's go through what is a pivot table. So I think I have quite a lot of notes here so that when you read the notes, it's going to be self-explanatory with a lot of images in it. So you don't have to struggle when it comes to reading and understanding. So because we don't want to waste my time on the reading, we'll just go through some selected points and then go ahead with the practical sessions. So why do you have to learn pivot tables? Because in fact, what you can do with pivot tables, you can do the same thing with Excel tables. I think we learned Excel tables somewhere last 2 weeks. And then we realized that when you convert your Excel into a table, it becomes easier for you to filter and analyze your data from there. So why do you have to learn pivot tables? What is the extra thing pivot tables bring on board? So in the modern business world, every job involves data analyst. In fact, nowadays, any small organization you find yourself in, the need for a data analyst or someone to manipulate data is needed. That is why nowadays people come out a lot as being a data analyst. Yes. So whether you are an HR department, the sales, accounting, finance, actuarial, or marketing, you need a data skills. This is an extra tip or something extra that gives you a boost when it comes to you being granted a job interview. Your skills with Excel or other data analytic tools really gives you a boost in current day job findings because every job wants to at least base his or her decisions on some data that they've gathered. So making sense of our data is the common challenge we face across industry. This usually means producing summarized reports that are easy to read and understand so we can gain meaningful insight. So as a data analyst, bringing a summarized report from a bunch of data is what is needed of you. When you are being presented with the data, you don't forward back a lot of data for the end user to read. It becomes very, very boring and very difficult for the end user to take decisions based on a lot of data. So the importance of you summarizing your data in a way that makes sense to an end user is very important. It's an important skills when it comes to you being a data analyst. So this is where pivot tables come in. So pivot table is a tool in Excel that allows you to generate a dynamic summary report from large amount of data and quickly turn it into a meaningful insight. So pivot tables allows you to do your analysis within minutes and seconds, depending on how quick and how swift you are. It makes analysis very, very, very easy. So that is the importance of you having pivot tables on your fingertips. Any data that has been given to you, you can quickly maneuver and then get a lot of insight about it. And from there, you can take business decisions that will help in business development. So pivot tables were introduced in Excel 97. Unfortunately, many users till date avoid this feature because they think it's too complicated. Now, when you become familiar with pivot tables, you realize that you don't even have to go and convert your Excel data into tables and filter, because that becomes a long way of going by it. But if you become used with pivot tables, you can maneuver around it with just some few simple steps. So how do you insert a pivot table in Excel? So first of all, you need to stand in the data you wish to insert a pivot table on. Make sure that your data is one, having headers. I know we've already talked about table headers when it comes to you having a list of data. So let's quickly fall on our data one. You realize that our data has headers. When it comes to you working with tables in Excel, remember to convert your data set into a table, you just stand anywhere in the table, Control T shortcuts, and then it will ask you, my table has headers. Now, if your table has no headers, you can quickly deselect this option and click on OK. And Excel, in its own wisdom, will name your headers for you. But when it comes to you dealing with pivot tables, please make sure that your table already has headers, because your analysis will be based more on the headers that you provide your data with. So each header will describe the context or the content in that particular column. So the data we see here, the dates header we see here, beneath it, we have the various dates that a particular transaction occurred. So each header is supposed to describe the content in that particular column. So here, the next column, we are talking about clients, and you realize that everything under clients is talking about clients that a company has either worked with or wants to work with. So you don't see data under the client column. No, it makes the analysis very biased. When it comes to the region, the same thing. It only talks about regions. You don't see client data under regions. So if you realize you have your data mixed up, that is where data cleaning becomes important. And we have talked about data cleaning, how to clean your data. So make sure that each header describes, or the content of the header describes what the header is about. So here we are talking about amount, and you are not seeing dates here, because when you put date under amount, your analysis is going to be wrong. So that is what we mean by your table having headers. Now, another thing you need to take note of is that make sure your data sets has no blank columns. 1, it has no blank columns. 2, it has no blank rows. And then 3, it has no merged cells. When dealing with pivot tables, you make sure that these criteria are met, else you can't fully depend on your data set after analysis. Because with this kind of errors in your data set, it makes your analysis very, very difficult. So please make sure that your table, your data set has no column, it has no blank columns, it has no blank rows, and it has no merged cells. I think we talked about you merging the data. So you can merge K to N by just selecting the range and then clicking on merge and center under the home ribbon. So that is how you go about merging. So make sure that your data set has no merged cells. So how do you go by inserting the pivot tables? So you start in the data set after making sure that the criteria we mentioned are met. First of all, it has to have a header. You must make sure it has no blank columns, no blank rows, and it has no merged cells. So after you stand in the data you wish to insert a pivot table on, you go to Insert Command tab. So this is the Insert Command tab. And under the Insert Command tabs, under Tables, you remember this is the same place we saw how to insert a table. So if you don't want to use the shortcut key Control T, you can go to Insert and come to Tables. And because they are all grouped under the same ribbon, you see pivot tables. And before you even go to pivot tables, Excel in its own wisdom can recommend some pivot tables for you. So when you click on recommended pivot tables, it gives you some recommendations based on the data set you have inserted. For example, let's look at the data I have here. I have a data that has the dates, the names of clients, the regions they are located, the month as to which we conducted business with, the year, and then the amount we had from conducting a business with them. So quickly, when I go to insert and I go to recommended pivot tables, now you realize that it has given me a summary. It has given me a summary of what or some of the things that I will need from this data set. So first of all, it has given me sum of amounts by region. So in the East, this is the amount we are getting. It has summed up all the amounts that we are seeing here based on the regions. So Excel in its own wisdom is giving you recommendations. When you go to the next one, it is giving you sum of amounts by clients. So the various clients we have here and the amounts that they have given us as a business so far, it has summed up the amounts and then given and allocated it to the various clients. So you see, this is a much simpler and easier way of you dealing with analysis. So imagine you want to just get the sum of amounts by clients. You quickly click on your anywhere in your data set after making sure that the various criteria are met. You go to insert, click recommended pivot tables, and then when you quickly come here, it has already done the magic for you. All you need to do is to click on OK, and you are done with your work. Rather than you converting your table into Excel, filtering one after the other, and then finding totals, that will take you hours. But this does it within seconds. So one advantage pivot tables has over just normal tables is that it makes analysis easier and faster. You don't have to do plenty thinking. You don't even have to memorize formulas. Put formulas aside, put your technical know-how when it comes to Excel aside. With some few clicks, you can quickly or easily get some analysis done within minutes. So the same thing, when you go down, it is giving you sum of amounts by months. So in January, for all the clients, these are the amounts you've gotten so far. You see, so this is what the recommended pivot tables does. It gives you recommendations based on the kind of data set you are dealing with. It can give you, it can analyze the year, give you the year, and then the various regions. And under them, you can get the amount you are getting by year and by regions. This is a very simple and easier way of analyzing your data. So that is what the recommended pivot tables does. However, if what you want to do cannot be found under the recommended pivot tables, then you have to click on pivot tables itself. That means you are coming to do your own analysis in your own way. So when you click on pivot tables, let's practicalize it. Insert, click on pivot tables. Now you have the option to click on the pivot table, and then the pivot table dialog box appears. Or there is a drop down here where you can click, and then you can select. It gives you options from table or / range, from external data source. So if you have a data source sitting somewhere, you can go and then pick it up using these options. Or if you are using Power BI, which is another, let me put it, the senior brother of Excel, you can quickly, with this option, you can quickly go into Power BI and then bring the data or pivot table from Power BI into Excel. That is how dynamic Excel is. So at this particular point, we want to use from table or range. You can either click on this or you can just click on the pivot table icon. Now, you realize that Excel in its own wisdom has selected the range for you. That is how powerful Excel is. It's trying to, lessen your burden because it knows there are a lot you have to be doing. So it has quickly highlighted the range of cells for you. So you realize that table / range has been entered for you already. If you feel this is not the range you want, you can quickly clear them, click on this arrow, and then do your selection. Then when you're done, you can come back. That is how dynamic the data set is. So we quickly do that. And then now the next option is to choose where you want the pivot table to be placed. Do you want to do it in another sheet, a new sheet, or you want to use the existing worksheet? What existing worksheet means is that you want to do your analysis on this same sheet. So based on what you want, you can quickly select. And then even if you want to use this existing worksheet, you can tell it to start entering the pivot tables from a particular cell. So you can give it a location, M4, and it will start the analysis from that place. So we quickly, for us, we want to do it in a new worksheet. And when we click on OK, you realize that Excel has given us or has inserted a new sheet called Sheet 2. I should tell you that pivot table has come in at this particular point in time. So at this point, is there any question or contributions? Any question? Okay, Edward.
Sir, please, we couldn't see the pop-up menu.
The pop-up menu when you click on pivot table.
Yeah. On the screen,
Okay.
we couldn't see it.
Okay, so let me quickly go back. So let's quickly go through the process again. So when I click anywhere in my data set, please make sure the criteria are met. 1, there are no merged cells. 2, there are no blank columns, no blank rows, and then your table has to get headers. And the headers has to depict what is in that particular column. You don't name a header date and then you find client details there. No. If it is so, then you need to clean your data set before you go on with the analysis. So when you click anywhere in the data set, when you go to insert, the pivot table comes here. So when you click on pivot table, this is the pop-up we are talking about. Now this pop-up gives you conditions to select. First of all, select the range or the table you want to use. So in a situation, I hope you guys remember that when you're dealing with Excel tables, you can
Sir,
name
please,
it. Okay, I think I need to share my screen in another way. Okay, so insert pivot tables. Please, can you see the pop-up now?
Yes, please.
All right. So sorry for the first time. So I need to go back with the explanation. So I was talking, you realize that Excel has already highlighted the range of data sets we have. Why? Because in Excel's own wisdom, it has noticed that there is a data set here. So the highlights has been done for you. So when you take a closer look at it, you realize that there is a border around it. Now, if you realize that Excel didn't select the data set you want to use, maybe you didn't want to include amount in your analysis. So you want to use only date, client, region, and month and year. You can quickly fall in the region that they provided with you, clear, and then click on this arrow where you can go ahead and then do your selection. When you do your selection, you come back to that arrow, and then it is going to do your analysis based on only the selection that you've done. So in our case, we want to use the entire selection that Excel has already done for us. So we leave that side, and then we come to the next one, which says choose where you want the pivot table to be placed. Do you want to keep it in a new sheet, in a new worksheet, or you want to do your analysis in this existing worksheet. And even in this existing worksheet, you can go ahead and tell Excel to start from the column K. You should start the analysis from your column K. So you can put K what? K4. K4. So it will start from K4 without affecting this side of the cell. So in our case, we want to use a new worksheet, and then we click on OK. Now, when you click on OK, Excel in its own wisdom has added a new worksheet called Sheet 3. Why Sheet 3? Because there is already Sheet 2, which we didn't use, so let's quickly delete. So Sheet 3. Now, what do you see here? You're seeing some nauseous. You see, this one makes pivot table a bit confusing, because it's, if you're not used to it, immediately you see it, you lose appetite. What is Excel trying to tell you? So anywhere that the first point of contact is that you are in a pivot table field. And when you are there, it leaves the pivot fields here for you. When you step outside, it vanishes. The same thing applies to Excel tables. When you stand in the tables, you realize that there is a design tab that comes, and then there is another one, table analyze, that also appears. When you step outside, you lose those panes. So that is the same thing that we apply, that Excel applies here. So if you want to do anything with your pivot table, you'll be in a pivot table, and then you can go ahead and then do whatever you want to do. Now, this is what we call the pivot table fields, which makes your analysis easier and faster. Now, the first part is what we call the filters. In Excel tables, we talked about filters. Let's quickly convert this data set into a table. Control T, my table has headers, and click on OK. So this is what we call filters. So what does a filter do? It can make you easily filter or sort out data. So in this case, let's say we want only East. When we click on OK, it filters your data set and brings out only those in the East. I hope you guys are getting me. So that is the importance of Excel filters. So now the same thing applied here. If you want to filter your data based on a particular condition, all you need to do is just quickly click and drag your the headers. Just click and then drag it into filter. Now you realize that because the date has been dragged and then placed in the filter, now we are seeing dates here. So when I click on the filter or the drop down, it gives me all the various dates. I hope you guys are following. The same thing, if I want to take out the data from filters, all I need to do is click and hold and then take it out. And now we are back to default. Another example, if I want to filter based on a client, remember in our data set, we only have this client. And you realize that the client repeats because as a company, we went into contracts with them on several locations. So Time 4 Inc. like this, we realize that they are repeating themselves here. So if I want to filter my analysis based on clients, all I need to do is step in my pivot table, click on my client, click and drag them into filter. And now it gives me a drop down closer to my client's name. And when I click on the drop down, it brings out the various clients. I hope you guys can see that. So if I want to take out the client filtering by clients, I only click and drag it outside. and now my data is back to normal. So we quickly go through the various fields under the pivot tables. Now, this is where you will see your table headers. Remember, I told you have to make sure that your data set has a header. So your table headers here will help you to be able to decide on which kind of analysis you want to do. So in case you want to do an analysis based on any of these headers here, all you need to do is to click on them, hold, and then drag them into the various fields that have been provided here. I hope that is fine. Now, when you come here, it has even written here, drag fields between areas below. If you want to filter, click on the what you want to filter, and then drag and drop it under filter. If you want to arrange your data set in columns, remember, this is what we call columns. You just click, drag, and drop them in columns. If you want to separate your data set in rows, like this, all you need to do is click and drag them into rows. If you want to show values, especially values, mostly values, we deal with amounts. Yes, amounts. So if you want your to show values, drag and drop your data sets under values. I know some of us are confused. So at this point, is there any question? Any question? Any question? Okay, I think the students are shocked. So let's quickly move on. So knowing this, any analysis you want to do, all you need to do is relax in your chair, click and drag them into the various fields. So let us do some quick analysis here. I want to know the total amount we've gotten from our various clients. Remember, when you look at our data sets, we have a lot of clients here, and this is the total amount we've gotten. So let's say I want to find out the total amount as we saw in the recommended pivot table. We want to find out the total that each of them brought us, the total amount they brought us as a company. All we need to do is just click on our clients. We want our clients to be in the row. So all we need to do is click on our client, drag and drop them in the row. You quickly see that Excel has populated our clients here for us. What do I want to do? I want to see the amounts they brought us. I click on amount, I drag into values. And Excel will beautifully display the total values that each of our clients brought us for the entire year. Do we see this magic? So one importance of you using pivot table is that it makes analysis very, very easy. So imagine you are in a workplace and then your boss needs the total figures or the total amounts that we have received from Eagle Securities. And you're now coming to convert your data range into table. And you're going to filter. Let's convert this into a table. And now we are going to filter based on Eagle Securities. Click on OK. Now we have Eagle Securities. Now I have to select the amount. And then I'll come down here and say, okay, it's 141 million. No, you are literally wasting time. But when you do it like this, Excel has beautifully displayed the total amount just by you clicking and dragging. So imagine your boss also asks you, what about ABC corporations? And you come back to your data set, go to the top, filter by ABC corporations. Then you click on OK. Then you come and say, oh, 39 million. You see, so this makes your analysis very, very, very easy. Is there any question at this point? Any question? Any question? Kezia, are you fine? Are you okay? Is there any question at this point?
Yes.
Am I to be convinced that everyone is fine? Felix, are you okay? Felix Ablodi, are you okay at this point? Albert Aye, are you okay? Because I want us to get this once and for all. Irabna, is it fine? Okay. So silence means consent. At this point, yeah, Albert,
I'm fine, sir.
you are fine. Fantastic.
Yes.
Any question, any confusion, anything you want us to clarify? Theophilus. Theophilus.
Mr. Emmanuel.
Any question at this point?
I'm good.
Okay, all right. So if Theophilus is fine, then I think we are all fine because Theophilus is our boss here. So let's quickly continue with what we were doing. Okay. So immediately I stand outside these fields, I lose the pivot table fields. When I stand outside, I lose the pivot table fields. When I stand in it, pivot table fields appear. So if I want to, now you realize that in our data sets, there is what we call the year. Now these we have 2019, 2020, and so on and so forth. If we want to quickly know the years, you can quickly click on your filter, and then it gives you 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022. So we've been in business with these companies from 2019 to 2022. What about we trying to find out the revenue or the amount we had from a particular company based on a particular year? So I can come, filter. Maybe we want to find out the revenue we had from Time4 Inc. You click on Time4 Inc., click on OK. Now the client side filters Time4 Inc. for us. But now we want to find out the year. So we come under the year, click on the year, and then click on 2019. Now you realize that now it has even taken out 2020, 2021, and it's giving us 2019 and 2022. That should tell you that automatically we didn't do business with them in 2020 and 2021. So it has given us just 2 years that we've done business with them. So click on 20, let's say we want 2019, and then now it will filter and then give you the total. At this point, I am trying to compare Excel tables with pivot tables. Now let's go to our pivot table. We want to find out the various amounts that they give us based on a particular year. So now let's take the year and drag it under rows. This is amazing. So quickly, we are seeing that in 2019, this is the amount we had from ABC. In 2020, this is the amount we have. And when you combine or add 2019, 2020, 2021, and 2022, the total amount we have from them has been beautifully displayed up here. There again, pivot tables makes analysis very, very easy. I don't want you guys to be scared about pivot tables because most people don't want to venture here. If you want to do Power BI into details, this skill is very important. Very, very, very important. The same thing applies to the various industries. So you realize that truly under Time4 Inc., we only did business with them in 2019 and 2022. And the amount has been displayed here, and the total has been displayed beautifully up here. Now it has also given us, it has been generous enough to give us the grand total for everything. So this is the power of pivot table. Now let us also go ahead and see, oh, we want to do this by month. Or let's say we want to find out the revenues we had from these industries in the various years by the various regions. And let's say we want the regions to be in columns. We can quickly drag our regions and drop them in columns. Now, it has given us a breakdown of each organization, the years that we did business with them, the various locations that we did business with them, and then the amounts that we were having. So if you're a business and you want to take a decision, okay, we did business with ABC Corporation from 2019 to 2022. Now, in the east side of Ghana, we had only 16, what is it? Once, well, I think because there's no decimals or commas, I can't really mention them. So this is what we have. Now in the north, we have this amount and it totals to this. In the south, we have this, it totals to this. In the west, this, and then the grand total is this. So you can base your decision on, in the east, it looks like we are joking there. But in the north, there is market in the north more than in the east. There is market in the south more than in the west. So, do I quickly close down the businesses in east and west and then focus more on south and north? Then that is where your decision comes in. So now you don't just base on your decision on just spiritual matters. Oh, I have prayed and then I have seen that if I focus my business in the east, it will give me more profit. But when you go there, this is the reality on the ground. The north and the south are making more than even the east and the west combined. So you can base your decision on this data. And then from this, you can say, okay, because the east and west are giving me less returns, I'm going to focus less on that side. Just to beat competitors, just to let competitors know that I am in the east and west, I will leave that side, but I won't focus on that side. I'll focus more on south and north. So the resources, most of the resources in the east and west, I will bring them to the north and south. Please, I hope that is clear. So you have a business, you are running your own business in Ghana. And then you have branches in the north, in the south, in the east, in the west. Now, doing an analysis like this will help you to decide on which business should I close down? Which business should I put in more effort? Which part of Ghana should I rebrand? You know, so these are some of the ways you can take decisions. Is there any question at this point? Is there any question? Fine. So pivot tables helps you to do analysis with ease. Now, if you want to go and sleep and come back and decide to, include months I want to find out how much we are making in a month. Quickly come. Let's say we want to add months to filters so that we can filter. Now, let's say we want January. Click on OK. Okay, so in 2020, 2021, ABC, in ABC corporations, we had this in the north, this in the south. We had in Chira Corporation, we had this. So based on your analysis on month to month, you realize that, okay, in January, the sales went down because maybe parents are buying books for their kids, parents are paying school fees, and the enjoyment money was spent in December. So January is very hot. People don't patronize things. So in January, I wouldn't force myself, or I wouldn't be expecting much more revenue. The year I'll be expecting more revenue is December, because at that point, people are buying, and even there are foreigners in the country who are spending dollars. So you can base your decisions based on some of these trends. Are you here with me? So these are some of the ways to quickly analyze your data with ease, without writing big formulas, without writing any macros. When I talk about macro is something, and is the coding side of Excel. If you want to automate your work, if you want to automate certain things you do, you can quickly follow macros, write some codes for it to automate it for you. So you'll be going to work all right, but you're mostly pressing your phone. And when it's time to present your report is ready. And your boss will be wondering, Charlie, how is this guy doing this? And you tell him that, yes, I write macros for it to work on my work for me. So I don't even have to come to work. Immediately I come and I click on this, Excel will do my work for me. And then all I do is look at it and smile. So that is the power of Microsoft Excel. If you quickly want to take out some fields or some analysis, you can just click on it, drag it outside, click, drag it outside, click, drag it outside, click, drag it outside, click, and drag it outside. So that is pivot table for you. Any question? Any question? This is our final class. I want you guys to understand this. In fact, if you didn't understand anything we taught or anything we went through, this particular topic, in fact, gives a summary of what we learned last week, Excel formulas and those things. You can boycott those ones and focus on this one, and then you can get your results. So is there any question at this point? Any question? Any question? Alice Adebo, are you okay? So Kezia sent a comment. She said, wow, this is so wonderful. A report that used to take me the whole day to work on can only be done in a few minutes using pivot table. This is fantastic. So I normally tell myself that ignorance is no good. Sometimes there is an easier way of getting the work done, yet you are just struggling and then wasting your time on the whole day working on just one thing. So this is pivot tables for you. Pivot tables. So the more you work on it, the more you get your hands dirty on it, you get to understand it better and better. So Kezia, thanks so much for the feedback, and thanks for encouraging your friends as well. Because if you really want to go into Excel, do analysis, I think this will help you a lot. Any other question, any other contribution? Albert,
Hello, sir.
from you.
Hello, sir.
Yes,
Yes. Sir, please, my question is basically of what we are doing, but still related to Excel. I work with Excel, but what I do is I mostly use the online version.
okay.
Yes. So that report will be, it can be worked on at the same time by a lot of people.
Yes.
But one thing I
Yes.
realized is that anything you do, any formatting you do affect, it's like a team in all the in other people's work at the time they're actually working on. And it's a very large report. I actually want to make a lot of analysis with it, but because anything I do, imagine if you filter, so yeah, imagine if you filter or you you freeze or you do any other thing, everyone sees it. So I'm not really
Yes.
able to enjoy using what I really learned because it affects and other people are saying, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Is there a
Yes.
way?
Especially if they don't understand.
Yes, yes, mostly they don't. Is there a
Yes.
way out?
Albert, I think I'm at this point. I'm really sorry for your for your problem. But what I can advise is that I don't know if you have the option of downloading them on your desktop and then working with it. So what you can do is you can download on your desktop, work on it, and then the final values that they need, you just populate it in the on the online version for them to see. Because if you try to do or alter the work online, especially when you're working with people who don't understand Excel, you are definitely going to get a lot of headaches. Sometimes you can filter, and then when when you finish filtering and you forget to unfilter everything, somebody will go ahead and work with the filtered data you have worked on, and then be getting wrong results. So I understand your headache very well, but I would advise that you can download them, work on them, and then just populate the final values that they need on the online version for them to see. I hope that has helped in a way of it.
Say, I'll try that. I'll try that.
Yes. Because aside that, I don't think there is there is any other way out. Yes. So thank you very much, Albert. Any question, any contribution? Any question, any contribution? Okay, so in the absence of any question, I think this point around, if the project comes out, I don't want to be seeing comments like, oh, I don't understand this, oh, I don't know this, that this is not working. No, because I think you guys are very much okay with what we've done so far. So let's quickly go on back to our data. So what we've done so far is we've tried to see how to insert the pivot table and then how to quickly do some analysis for the table just by sitting comfortably in our chairs and then clicking and dragging into the various fields. And then Excel will beautifully display the informations for you. So that is that about Excel pivot tables. Because there are a few times, I think we have 27 minutes more. So we quickly fall on our next data. Okay, I think I can add this data set to the project. So let's focus on this one for now. So let's quickly try our hands on other ways of going around this. So instead of using a table, let's focus on the pivot table. Okay, so we've done the step-by-step tutorials on how to insert a pivot table. Now let's go on to pivot charts. What do we mean when we say pivot charts? So pivot chart is just a way of you illustrating what the figures or the findings you've made in a pictorial manner. You are just showing pictures that shows the trends. So for example, you sorted out the amount you have for the various clients for, let's
Hello,
say, the
sir.
amount of, yes sir.
Please, we can't see the screen now.
Okay, all right. Sorry, thanks for that. Can you see the screen now?
No, please.
Okay. All right. I hope you can see it now.
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So let's go back to pivot tables. So first of all, you can start anywhere, insert, you go to pivot tables. Let's do our analysis in a new worksheet and then click on OK. So now let's do an analysis on the clients, the amounts, and the amounts that they get. And let's group it under the various years. So let's add years to this. So when we stand there and then we go to under pivot table analyze, there is what we call pivot chart under tools. When I click on pivot charts, it gives me templates on ways I can illustrate my findings. So let's say you are the manager and you have to send this report to the boss for him or her for all of you to decide on what you want to do. Or you are doing a presentation, and as a serious data analyst, I think it's best for you to do your presentation in Excel. Even though you can insert Excel in PowerPoint, but for you to be free and then, move from one side to the other, it's best to focus on one. If you feel you can do everything in PowerPoint, that's fine. If you feel you can do more in Excel, you can do your presentation in Excel and then go your way. So this gives when you click on pivot charts, it brings us to a pop-up where you see a set chart. And then from there, you can decide on the chart you want to insert. Now, with this particular kind of information, I think using a bar will fit. So when I click on OK, Excel is showing me bars for the various years under the various clients. So in 2019, this is the bar I am getting for ABC Corporation. When I compare it to Bridges Company in 2019, I think their bar cannot even be seen. So based on some of these, just visualizing it, especially when you send it to a senior person who doesn't even have time to read, go through these figures and understand what you're saying. Presenting your data in a pictorial form helps them to easily understand what you're talking about. So with me, I don't really like to show this bars behind the scene. Quickly delete them. And then I don't like showing this. I take them out. I like showing this as well. And then for this fields, just remove fields. Sorry. Okay, so with this one, we can leave this one there. So we quickly display this, and anyone who takes this up to see trends or to see what you are doing will quickly fall on this and say, okay, so this bar in 2021, this bar is longer than Eagle Security. I mean, SOC companies bar in 2021 is longer than Eagle Security. That means the revenue we had from SOC company is more than Eagle Security. So by just visualizing it, I have quickly told a story that will take people days to find out. When you right click on it, you can filter or fill If you want to change the colors of your graph, probably to suit the company, maybe your company's color is green. You go for the green just for it to suit or match with whatever you are doing. The outline, you can go ahead and then change the outline. The outline is just the shape or just the sides. Which color do you want to use for the sides? That is what the outline means. So with the fill, if you are using, you can use black, and then with the outline, so you realize that the outline's color, let me use a color that is visible. Okay, and then with the outline, so you realize that the outline or the shape or the size, the color of the size is changing. So that is what the outline is about. So this is Excel being easy. You present your data, and then you provide a pictorial view of what you are talking about so that anyone at all can fall on the pictorial picture that you've shown and then conclude on what they want to do. So this is pivots charts. Remember, this is just an introduction, and we don't want to burden anyone with detailed analysis when it comes to pivot tables. In fact, you can do a lot with this, a lot. And I don't want us to go there. We'll get there eventually. But today being our last class, let's just treat the topics or the surface of the topic, and then in your own time, you can quickly go online and then check it out. And I believe there are tons of information out there if you want to really master pivot tables. So basically, that is just a trick on how to do analysis with ease. Any question at this point? Any question? Okay. So in the absence of any other question, let's quickly fall on what we call slices. Now, slices helps you to, it works like a filter, but just that when I insert a slicer, which is also another pivot table analyze, when I insert a slicer, let's say I want to be filtering or sorting out my data based on regions. So when I click OK, now it brings a pop-up. So I can decide on, I can filter my data or the amount here based on these regions. So when I click on East, now it is going to sort out the revenues that I had for the various clients in the various years, only East, the Eastern region. The same thing when I click on North, it filters this out for me. So one important function about the slicers is that it makes you very dynamic. In fact, you can maneuver around things with ease. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. So that is what the slicers is about. When you're done with your how do you call it, using the slicer, you can clear, filter to go back to your data. You can as well click on this particular icon you see here, multi-select, which has the control key Alt S.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Please, can you go through the slicer again, please?
Okay. So let's quickly go through the slicers again. So remember, when I stand anywhere outside my pivot table, the pivot field vanishes, the same as the various ribbons that comes up here. So when I stand in it, they appear like magic, and then under pivot table analyze, there is this function under filter called insert slicer. Now this slicer works like a filter. It helps you to sort out the data based on certain criteria. So I want to sort out my data based on the region. So when I click on OK, Excel will bring out a slicer or just a pane that will include the various regions in my data set. So I can keep this one here. And if I want to get the amount that I had in only the Eastern region for the various years, all I can do is just to click on East. And Excel will sort the data out and give me only the amount that we had in the East for the various years. So you realize that ABC Corporation in the year 2020, this is the amount we had. In the year 2019, this is an amount we had. So the slicers will help you to sort out the data based on a condition of your choice. I hope that is fine.
Yes, please.
Okay. And then it also gives you the option to clear the slicers or clear the filter that you have made so that your data can go back to its default option. So when you click here, it brings your data back. Now, the next icon close to it is what we call the multi-select with the shortcut key Alt-S. When I click on this, it gives me the option to sort out my data based on 2 or more criteria. So I want to sort my data based on regions, but I want both East and then South. So when I click on, when I activate this button here, it gives me the option to sort based on both the criteria. So East and South. So both of them, you realize that now both of them has been highlighted. So both of them, when I want to find out the revenue I'm getting or the amount I'm getting for only these 2 regions, it populates them for me. Are we clear? So when we are done, you can clear, filter, and then it brings everything back to default. So that is what Slicer in Microsoft Excel does. It helps you to filter based on a decision that you have made or a condition of your choice. The power of slicers. Any question? Any question? Okay, so let's quickly talk about number formatting here. So with the data set that we have, the amounts we are seeing here are just like figures. It's very difficult for you to read. Whether it is cedis, dollars, we don't know. So what you can do here is to quickly convert the amount side into currency. Then you can do that in the number format. So quickly select your data set, right click, go to number format, and now you can select currency. Now, which currency symbol do you want? You go ahead and then choose it. At this point, let's just use the dollars because that's the common, how do you call it, symbol you can get in Excel. And then decimal places. Please, I hope no one is coming to ask me why is Ghana cedis symbol not here, because I'm also trying to find out. You can tell me when you know the reason. So the decimal point, you can decide on whether to give it 2 decimal places or nothing. Then you click on OK. So now your data sets, the amount side of your data set is beautifully going to be arranged in a manner that is more legible for you to read. So now you can quickly look at the number and then tell the figure. This one is what? $63,900. So it quickly gives you the option to also number format the data set. Also, there is this other feature called show value as. Show value as. Now with this, you can show, let's quickly, now this before we go there, this data set has been expanded, right? It has been expanded. So you can, when you click on this, it quickly groups them for you. I hope you understand. It quickly groups the field for you. So let's see. Let's bring the amount again to the values. So we have two amount sessions, and then let's click and then go to show value as percentage of grand total. So with the total amount that we have here, ABC, the revenue we are getting from ABC Corporation just forms 5.46% of the total revenue that we had. The revenue from Sole Company Limited gives us 35.21%. So with this kind of analysis, you can say, oh, then that means the person giving us the highest revenue is Sole Company. On that note, we don't have to joke with this client at all, because when they leave, we are losing about 35.21% of our revenue. And do to convince them, if there's anything we can do to keep them in business, then let us do it. Followed by who? So if you don't want to go through the stress of you using your mind to look at who is next in line, then quickly go sort your data. Sorry. Sort your data from smallest to largest, and it will do the magic for you. So now the smallest amount we have here is ABC Corporation, and for them, they're giving us 5.46%. If they full end the contract with them, because they're not giving us much. Even though when it comes to business, you don't see that, because it will be yeah. So Eagle Security is the next in line with giving us the highest revenue. So you see, this analysis has been done with just a click, without writing any. The same thing applied to you can. So anytime you want to make changes on the amount or present the amount in various ways, you don't, when you just do the changes on this one, it affects it. So anytime you want to do changes on the amount, you can quickly insert amount again under values. This will give you another amount. And let's say you want to do another show value as percentage of column total, percentage of row total, of parent row value. So you see, there are different ways of you showing your value. Now you can even summarize value by count, sum, average, max, mean, product. So it gives you the various options for you to maneuver around. So this basically is what we call power pivots. Our time is fast spent, and at this point, I would like to take questions or any contributions that anyone wants to bring on board. I'm just hoping that you guys understood this perfectly, because it will make your analysis very, very easy. Any question? Any question? Alos Paracletos. I saying, sir, please, you talked about, I think this thing, we've talked about it. So K or Manuel, you just call me K or Manuel. Please, you talked about codes in Excel. Yes. So there is what we call Excel VBA or macros. Macros are codes that you can write, like the way you code in Python or those other platforms. Excel also has a back end on what we call macros or VBA. With those ones, I think you need a lot of training to be able to understand it better. But now the work has been very easy when it comes to you coding. I think you guys are familiar with what we call a chat GPT. I think this is the last class, so let me give you all the tips I can. So this okay, so I think people are on it right now. So this particular link, let me share it with you guys in the comment section. This particular link, it's an open source area where if you have any question to ask and you feel like you can't ask anyone, you can quickly fall on this particular link, type the question, and then it will give you solutions. So if you are trying to do something in Excel and you don't understand, just open this link and talk to the bot. Tell the bot that, oh, how do I set Power Pivot in my Excel data? And it will give you a step-by-step approach. The same thing if you don't know how to cook, how do you call it? Hamburger, or ice cream, vanilla ice. On this app or this bot, just talk to it. You can tell it, hello, can you please take me through the process of preparing hamburger, to take you through a step-by-step approach. You can use that in your education, your economic student. Talk to the bots. What is demand and supply? It is there to assist you. It is going to give you detailed info on what it is about. So there is an extra tip for those who joined the class today. Chat GPT. I think most of us have heard it, and then most of us have also not heard about it. It's very important if you want to, go far. So now education is not about you knowing everything. It's about you being able to ask the right question, because there are so many open source AIs that are available to help you out. So I think our time is fast spent. At this point, is there any question as to what we've done so far from the beginning of the class to today's class? Do you have any question? Do you have any challenge? Do you have anything you want us to talk about? Because this is the final class when it comes to Excel for Productivity, organized by Best Grade Services. Any question? Any contribution? Any addition? Any subtraction? Theophilus, do you have any contribution, any addition, any subtraction you want to make?
No, please.
No. Okay. So at this point, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who formed part of this season's Excel for Productivity class. I am just hopeful, and then I'm just hopeful. I think the tutors are also hopeful that whatever we've learned has not been a waste of energy. It is going to be taken up in good faith, because the aim is supposed to help each and every one of us to be able to equip ourselves with some of the basic skills that we need so far as the work field is concerned. You do economics, and the funny thing is you find yourself somewhere that you are not even applying that skill. You are applying Excel. Yes, that is the real world out there. So this is just to help us to be equipped with some basic skills that will help us when we find ourselves in the work field. And even if we are working, it is there to help us to be extra productive in whatever thing we are doing. And then mind you, doing the same thing over and over again doesn't change the outcome. So always try to look for different ways and means of getting the work done. And that is where you become productive. So thank you very much. I think Jonathan, if Jonathan is here, he can give us the final remarks, and then will be done. The name again is Emmanuel Intriquinin. And then I was glad to be your tutor for the season 1 of Excel for Productivity class. Thank you. Is there any addition, any subtraction, anything anyone wants to say before we end today's class?
Hello, sir.
All right, Solomon.
So please, I haven't received my grade for assignment 1.
Okay. As Jonathan McNaught said earlier, the assignment is such that you have to be downloading each and every person's work and then be scanning through them one after the other. And that is what the headache is. I think most of us has received our grades, but we are still on it. So you'll definitely receive your grade. So don't worry. You'll definitely do that. All right. So any other person? I'm seeing some comments. Thank you all, the management, for making this. I think we also appreciate you guys for making this a success. So we'll be doing more classes. We'll be doing more. I think. Do I say free? Okay. At this point, we will the admins will decide on which ones to make free. But for the time being, we are having a Stata class that is also coming on some few weeks from now, organized by the Best Grade Services once again. So we are always available to assist. The flyer will be shared on the various pages. For this one, it is not a free class. It is not a free class. So if you are interested in learning Stata, this is available. This option is available to you. It is only 300 Ghana cedis. Only. And I don't think you get this offer anywhere. So if you feel you are interested, if you feel like you are interested in learning Stata, please and please again, try and sign up for this class. And I think you will really love it. So this is our Stata class. I don't know if you can see the flyer. So if you're interested in joining a 4-week intensive data analysis training with Stata, please try and then sign up for this. The link will be shared on the various platforms if you are interested. And then with the certification, there is going to be a final project that will be sent across. Latest by Wednesday, it will be sent across. And it's not going to be just some few steps. No, it's going to be a detailed assignment that I'm hopeful will cover what we've learned so far. That is just to know that you've really learned something from what we did. So the assignment is going to come out latest by Wednesday. Please try as much as possible to get your hands dirty. If it means going online to check and then understand things better, please do. And then just equip yourself with this skill. And that is what is needed. So that's the certification is going to be based on outcome, mainly the outcome of this project, as well as some of the assignments or all of the assignments that we did. So please take note of that. And then a portion will be provided where you have to enter your name. Please, the name is supposed to be the name that you want it to appear on the certificate. So don't be surprised when we ask you to enter your name. So your name, a portion will be provided where you have to enter your name. Just do all to enter the name that you want it to appear on the certificate, so that in case you pass and certificate is supposed to be granted to you, we can use that name to sort things out. So at this point, we say thank you very much. And Mark Mills, is there any other thing you want to say before we end today's class? Hello, Jonathan. Okay, so Jonathan is okay, and I think we've said all we need to say. So thank you very much, everyone, once again. I'm really grateful to have you all, and I'm open to being friends with a lot of you. So kindly message me if you want to be my friend, and then we can take it from there. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you too, sir.